Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to talk about the Knitter issue 226, which has been in the shops I think now for nearly 2 weeks. So I'm a little bit late doing this, but I hadn't received a copy of my magazine yet, so that's why I'm doing it a little bit late. So that's what the cover looks like. Beautiful floral cover. I do like the flowers that are on that cover, and there's flowers in the design as well, so I like that. I'm going to show you my design, so we're going to go back to before I sent the sample off to the magazine for photography, show you what it looked like on my dress form, and talk a little bit about the design and the construction and all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to look at what the model photographs look like and what else is in this issue. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you are new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through our website, YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And make sure you sign up to my newsletter at YarnAddict.co.uk, because any special offers and that kind of thing, new patterns, other news, videos, everything is announced there. I send out one newsletter every Friday afternoon, and I don't tend to do any extra apart from that, and you can unsubscribe at any time. So please do go and sign up to my newsletter if you haven't already. So this is my design. We'll go and look at what it looks like on my dress form first, and then we'll come back and then I'll show you some more photos from the magazine and talk a bit more about what's in this issue. So before we have a look at this design, I'm filming this in October, middle of October, end of October, and I have a really stinking cold. So if I sound really bunged up, that's because I am. Hopefully I won't have to edit out too many coughs and sneezes. But if I look a bit rough, that's because I've had this cold for, I think today's day 4. So I hope you'll still enjoy this video. Hopefully the first bit I filmed and the next bit, which I'll film when the magazine comes out, I'll sound healthier than I do now. But this is my design for this issue of the Knitter magazine. We'll talk a little bit about the construction method and the design, and then a little bit about the yarn. So let's talk about the yarn first. The yarn is King Cole Luxury Yak DK. I've used this a few times now, and it's really, really nice and soft. It has 85% merino wool and 15% yak, and it has 112 meters per 50 gram. And this is color 5127 Vermilion, I don't know. French, is it? I don't know. Anyway, it's really nice yarn, nice bouncy merino, really nice even stitch tension, and I really enjoy working with it. So let's have a look at this design. I've just raised my dress form down a bit so you can see the bottom of the sweater. This is knitted in the round from the bottom up. So you knit in the round to the underarms, and then you split for the front and back, and you knit the front and back separately to the shoulders. At the bottom, it's just got a garter stitch hem, because I really like garter stitch hems rather than ribs. And it's just stocking stitch in the round to the underarm, so nice and quick and easy. I can just lower this again so you can see the top of the sweater. You do some shaping on the underarm, and then when you get to the front neckline, you start working these lace panels either side of the V-neck shaping. If you want the V-neck shaping lower, you just start working the shaping lower down. If you want the sweater longer, you can add length before you get to the underarms. Obviously, if you add length, you may need more yarn, although I have allowed a sort of generous yarn allowance so that hopefully you don't run out. But if you want to make it longer, you may need more yarn. This lace panel at the side here is fairly simple. It's laced every other row, so every right side row, and just plain pull on the wrong side row. So it's knitted back and forth from the underarms. When you get to the shoulders, you join the shoulders by working a 3-needle cast off. On the back, it's just stocking stitch right to the top, and then afterwards you pick up stitches around the neckline and work a neck shaping. It's only 2 rows, I think, of garter stitch and then a cast off row. So it's not a lot of shaping around the neckline. But it has got a very nice sort of garter stitch ridge there. And I like casting off purlwise because it gives, I think it gives you a neater cast off than when you cast off knitwise, especially when you're doing garter stitch. and it also makes the cast off a little bit stretchier. Once you've finished the body and you've joined the shoulders, then you're going to pick up stitches around the armhole, starting at the shoulder, picking up to the underarm, and then picking up around the back. And then to shape the sleeve cap, because this has got set-in sleeves, to shape the sleeve cap, you will then work short rows across here to shape the sleeve cap. I use German short rows. You can substitute it for your favorite short row method if you prefer, but I think German short rows look really neat. I don't think you can actually see it here because it's very difficult to film bright pink and bright reds because they tend to look a bit washed out on camera. And then you knit the rest of the sleeve in the round. So you knit the sleeve cap back and forth. Once you get to the underarm stitches, you knit in the round, and it has 3/4 length sleeves. You can make them longer if you want to, just keep knitting. And because everything else has been made up, you can try it on so you can get the sleeve length, the length you want. Obviously, again, you may need more yarn for that. And then it's just finished off with a few rows of garter stitch at the bottom, just like on the body. So I think this is just a nice classic winter sweater that you can wear dressed casually with jeans or dress it up with a smarter skirt or over a dress. So now we're going to go back to when the magazine has come out, and I'll show you what else is in this issue of the Knitter magazine. So this is my design. As you can see, it's not that visible, I think, on the photos, but that's the problem with photography. A lot of time details are difficult to photograph, but it has got the lace panel either side of the V-neck, as you saw in the previous clip, and that is another picture. And then let's just zoom. I don't know how well that's going to be to see because I've zoomed in quite a lot. Also get a bit of glare. And then there is a close-up. Now I can't show you the pattern. It has the lace chart for the lace pattern, which have a chart and written instructions plus some of the instructions. So I've zoomed in a bit, but it's a close-up of the lace pattern. I decided to go for a very simple design and just have the lace pattern around the neckline, and the back is plain. So let's see what else is in this issue. Cover I've already shown you, very attractive cover. And one thing I do like about the Knitter is that on their contents pages, they have pictures of all the designs with the page number in the picture. So you can see here is my design, and then it says the page number. So if you're looking for something specific, it's easy to find. Then it lists all the designers' names and the name of their design. So it's plus everything else that's in there. So first it has all the patterns listed separately. Then it has Goodreads, expertise plus. So everything is kind of listed quite clearly, and all the patterns are photographed. There's a photograph of all the patterns here, so you can easily find what you're looking for. And then they have like a featured designers page where they take it in turns to feature different designers. I'm on there this time. I need to send them a new headshot because the headshot they have of me is very, very old. So the first design is Sunniva by Sanna Mard Kaufman. Again, apologies if I get anyone's names wrong. Really intricate kind of one stitch cable design with ribs. Very interesting. I do like that. Quite a lot of detail in that. Then there's like the Knitter loves like news about new products, events, mentions Wonderwall, which is at the end of April. No, I'm not going to be there this year because I'm teaching at Black Sheep Wolves that weekend. And then there's some new books, and there's several pages of new things. Then there's a redesigned ad. Bought my first redesigned bag in Norway in December, and I love it. And I would definitely like more. Then there's some more news pages and some Q&A stuff. There's an events guide, which I always quite like looking through. My workshops will be mentioned there occasionally. And then this is really cute. So colorway tea cozy. I don't drink tea, and we don't really use teapots in this house, but that's really attractive. Very, I would say, Norwegian inspired design. That looks very Norwegian to me. Then there's a simple lacy scarf. That's a very fairly simple thing to knit by Claire King. Now, I'm not going to go through all the designs in this issue. There's some like yarn reviews and book reviews and that kind of thing. And then there's a masterclass on embroidery for knitters. which I'm not going to show you because it's pictures and I don't want to give away any of the main information. But I haven't tried embroidering on my knits. I used to do cross stitch in my 20s till I hurt my neck for the second time, and then anything that involves looking down for a long time I just can't do. With knitting, the way I normally sit, I actually hold my knitting. Either if it's in my lap, it's stuff that I don't need to look at, like stocking stitch or ribs or simple things. And the chair I sit in downstairs to knit in has armrests, so when I rest my arms on the chair, my knitting is probably kind of chest height, so I don't have to look down. And if I do knit something that I have to look at the whole time, like stranded color work, barrel knitting, then I do end up getting more pain in my neck. Sarah Hatton sweater, very simple again, with just a little cable detail at the neck, but very attractive. And I'm going to skip a couple of designs. There's some accessories, and there's a feature with Alex Bird and her Estonian inspired knitting designs. That looks quite interesting, so I must remember to go back and read that. Really nice pair of socks, color block socks. They are fabulous. Got to be a little bit careful with stranded color work, which I'm assuming this is on socks. Yeah, it's got to be stranded color work because it doesn't look like mosaic knitting. Stranded color work on socks, if your floats at the back are too tight, you won't get them past your heel. So you've got to be a bit careful about that. Then there is a feature on Calf Facet. He's developed a spectacular palette of shades for Rose Mushroom, Felted Tweed and Kid Silk Haze ranges. I'm sure they'll be very popular because he is very popular, especially with probably slightly older knitters who are probably more familiar with him. When I got back into knitting in this country, I started teaching workshops and going to knitting groups and that kind of stuff and designing. I had no idea who he was. And people are talking about him all the time. And I must admit, when I hear people talk about him now, it tends to be older knitters who've been knitting for a long time. But I do like this sweater, which is one of his designs, very colourful. He's known for intarsia and colourful stuff. There's a men's design by Pat Mancini called Solcombe. Solcombe is a town in South Devon. A lot of the designs in the knitter are quite often given names from the southwest, from Devon and Cornwall. Then there's my design, I don't know how you pronounce that, Gwanwyn. Sounds to me like it could be a Welsh name, as we are moving to Wales in the next year, hopefully. I need to learn how to speak a little bit of Welsh and pronounce some Welsh name. Then there's a feature on Emily Jane Bayliss. She set up her own yarn brand specializing in Cotswold wool. Wish her all the success in the world. I think that's really hard, like a specific sheep-specific breed brand. I think that's really hard, but I'm sure being in the knitter will hopefully help her. Then there are some other designs. There's one by Serdar, and there's one from the archives, Mary Henderson. She does amazing color work designs. That's really nice. This is a slip stitch pattern, not stranded color work by the looks of it. And then there's next month. Don't know whether I got one in the next issue or not. I have some coming up. I'm just trying to look. No, that doesn't look like mine. I don't know whether that blue one was mine, but no, I don't think it is. I may have one in the next issue. I know this particular sweater was supposed to have been like 1 or 2 issues ago. So sometimes things get moved around. So I think I have one in the next issue, but I don't know till it comes out. And then there's a guest column. And then there's a beautiful design on the cover by Lisa Richardson. That is stunning. It's in a sort of textured yarn, but looks of it. So it's knitted in strand of mohair boucle DK, held together with a strand of baby alpaca 4-ply. And what yarn brand is it? Oh, it's World of Wool mohair hoop boucle and World of Wool PQ 4-ply, which is the alpaca. It is absolutely stunning. Let's see if there are any more pictures here. And it's got little flowers on it. It is really stunning design. Let me just see if I can show you this one. It's got like a circular yoke design, but yeah, that's beautiful. And that is that it? Yes. that is it from what is in this issue. So if you haven't got it yet, get it now. It's in the shops in the UK now. I think it's sold in other countries as well. If you can't get it in the shops or you don't want a print copy, I really find the Zinio app really good. I have it on my tablet. I also have it on my phone. My phone screen is much smaller, but my tablet is an 8-inch tablet, I think. It's a Samsung Galaxy tablet. And it's big enough that I can read on it, but not so big that it's awkward to handle. And I find the Zinio app and downloading magazines on here really, really useful. I really like it. So I do recommend that. Okay, if I sound slightly out of breath, it's because I just finished recording the main bit and I'm just going to do the bit at the end. And then somebody knocked on the door and it was the postman. So I had to run back downstairs and upstairs. So now I'm a bit out of breath. Anyway, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you next time.